Hey, YouTube. It's your boy, man. It's Pastor the Dred. It's traveling with Vinny. It's the boy that know how to rep his city. Hey, man. So you've not seen a bunch of content from me lately. I've been busy. I've been occupied. I've been trying to figure out how to move this thing forward. But I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of great things, right? I've heard a lot of great things. Hopefully the mic loud enough you guys can hear me. Um, I've seen a lot of good content. I've seen some not so good content. When I first jumped into this journey um, of creating content, it was really me trying to share with the Black community um, my travel, my European travel around the world, how I do those things, how you can do them as well. But it was also, man, originally just a lock journey, right? So that's how it all started. And then it slowly evolved, right? Um, I had um, I had a November episode that I wanted to do for my father, Larry the Mac James. He wanted to tell his story before it's too late, and I made provisions to make that happen. You know, for those who don't know me, don't know about me, because normally I'm not in the camera. I'm behind the scenes. I'm either paying for the stuff, paying for the producers, paying for the interviewers, but I'm also more than the financier. I'm the one with the relationships. Um, I grew up in Oak Cliff, Texas. There's a video about it. Oak Cliff is inside of Dallas, probably 300,000 people there. Um, and I've spent most, I guess, of my life at this point, in business, different organizations, management. Um, but when my dad asked me to capture his story, the reason we did it on video and the reason we did it on YouTube and the reason we did it on TikTok was because I moved away from the city. I moved to Austin, Texas, or around about Austin, Texas. And it was easier for me to pay some producers, to rent out a studio, to pay some interviewers, to ask some questions that I wrote. One, to disarm him a little bit because he's very familiar with me. Two, I've already heard the stories, but I wanted to pull things out that would be interesting for you guys. And I'll be completely honest with you. Once I did it, the whole plan was to get a transcript of the interview and then transform that into the book. That was the reason he wanted to tell his story. He wanted to tell you that yes, he lived a life of crime. That yes, he did a lot of foul things. That yes, he had been violent. He had been homeless. He had been on drugs. He had sold drugs. He had a lot of charges, including capital murder. But he wanted to show you guys how great God is. So we captured it on the first interview. I did some clips about it and put those clips on TikTok. I was new to TikTok. TikTok's for the young folk, and it did numbers. Ran up about 600,000 views in 2 days. And these were small 10-minute clips. So it sent me on a journey, and I said, okay, we need to do more of that. Well, the transcript from the original interview, if you can go back to last December or November, it wasn't enough for the whole book of Larry the Mac James. So we did some additional things. Um, we booked him for two more interviews, and then we had enough content so that we can go ahead and build out the book. Now, there's so much more. There's so many more stories that we haven't introduced to you. There's so many more characters. Another being Emmett Cadillac Walker. So many more stories. He did 444,000 views on Facebook. All of those things didn't translate to YouTube. That's why I haven't really been on YouTube. TikTok, um, Facebook, those things did really well. These are great stories. Uh, Emmett Cadillac Walker, 83 years old. He had seen things and done things. And I wanted to share those stories with the youth. And yeah, then there's me, right? Then there's my brothers. We have our own stories. Then there's Lil Man Walker. We have our own stories that we want to share. We have our own perspectives that we want to share. And what I want to tell you is you're going to get some more content. Now, sometimes for me, what do you get? You might get some, a little political stuff. I'm not a political guy, but I can tell you, I speak my mind. I say those things that are on my mind, and maybe you find that interesting, or maybe you'll find it interesting. Another thing is I do travel. I don't travel as much as I'd like to, but one of the guys that I picked up on uh, maybe 2 years ago was a guy named Ace, I believe, and then who followed him, a guy named Checks in Effect. And I see these guys; they made a career out of travel. They've made a career doing what they love. And me, I've always been in some form of management position, and I could just go when I'm able to go. But I want to bring you more stories. I'm going to bring you more content. I even have had involvement with a lot of these guys' uh, stories and success. One of the ones I won't touch on today, but similar to TTEKP, I had dealings with TTE Naughty as well, right? And I've never spoken down on the guy. I don't do that. Again, that's why I play it in the background. I don't break down topics because you'll never see me putting folks down, right? You'll never hear me saying, "Man, I'm gonna do this to this person when I see him. I'm gonna do that to that person when I see him." And the reason why I don't do that is because I understand that life is real and that the power of the tongue, is man, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So I'd rather speak life. The scripture says, speak those things that be not as though they are. Something that goes along with that, and I'm not a preacher, but I've preached. Something that goes along with that is faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence unseen. Um, I know that speaking things, tearing down folk, it'll get you some views, man, but it will get you. Um, y'all use the word karma. I know that comes from uh, an Eastern Asian type deal, but as it relates to scriptures, it says, uh, "Do unto others," right? Or it says, um, God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So I'll break that down real quick. God is not mocked. And I'll say Yahweh is not mocked. So whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Sounds Greek to some folks, but let me break it down real simple. If you go out and you buy seeds for a rose bush and you sow those seeds, meaning you plant those seeds, what kind of fruit is it supposed to bear? It's supposed to bring you rose bushes in time, right? Because there's always time, time and eternity. And you know what I mean? So if you buy the seeds for a certain flower or for a certain fruit or a certain tree, and you plant them and you water them and you give them the right sunlight, then that's what you expect to grow. If I wanted to plant seeds of discord and I water them and I give it sunlight, give it light, right? Give it shine, give it motion, what will grow? Discord. What will grow? Um, Deceit. All of those things are because of the scripture that won't return void. Again, I ain't gonna preach to them, just telling you. So if I break down a topic, it'll be based on my opinion, but it's not to tear anybody down. And I know that this won't get a billion views or a million views based on that, right? Because who wants to hear the truth anymore? Lies are great. Lies are awesome. You're seeing lies being told. You're seeing people, kicking folks while they down. I don't do that. But what I do and I'm willing to do is I like to share testimonials. When you see my show, Living Testimony, right? And you see the episodes of the people that we had on, the Antoine Jemisons, the polar bears, the Stevos. I mean, whatever. Their testimony is a testament, right? It's just a part of their life. And then them telling you where they are now. I remember Steve talking about it, that his son had got killed. I remember Antoine talking about he spent 20 years in prison, that he had to fight a lot. He was misunderstood. Um, until now, doing really good things, building up his life. He wanted to show his mother something different. So you will see testaments. It don't mean that I'm bringing you the bishop or the preacher or the minister. It can be a regular person, because I believe that's where the power lies, in regular people like you and me, telling your story. Why would you tell a story from a regular person, Patches, Vince? Because regular people are who watch it. There's a select few, 1%, right, that are in this whole Hollywood fame. They live a different life. We don't live that life. If you wake up and have to work to pay a bill, you don't have endless funds. You have daily struggles to pay a bill. You need to borrow an EBT card. You need to catch a bus. You need to catch an Uber. You don't have a car. You've been evicted. You grew up in the projects, the bricks, some very bad apartments, seeing people killed, but you make it every single day to your job, or you are able to go watch your kids graduate high school. You're able to make it to a track meet, a football game, your child's choir singing, the symphony, whatever it is, then you're a testament and you have a testimony. Because when we talk about some of these things, right? Like the things with Diddy came out, right? And Candace Owens did a great job breaking it down, and I'm gonna share some of that with you. But when people say Illuminati, right, and you think about illuminate, but all humanity is how I see it. All humanity, meaning there are powers and people trying to hold back or hold down all humanity. And some of us say, "Oh, well, I don't believe it exists." Yeah, it exists. It's always existed. Watch a couple of those monarchy movies, right? The Queen Elizabeth's, the White Princess. You can name any king or monarch or whatever. And what were they doing? The super rich were controlling the population. The super rich were having wild orgies, sex parties, doing weird things. You don't think that that still exists? Those things exist. So for us, since we're in a republic and we're not in a democracy, even though we talk about democracy, a true democracy is when everybody has a say so, right? We put a topic down, we all vote, and the person with the most votes wins that. We don't live in a democracy. We don't put all the topics. We don't know when we're sending money over to Ukraine or Israel or any of that kind of stuff. We just have to deal with it. We don't know or have no control over a new law passing about various things in sexuality, or allowing pornographic books in the schools. We don't have a say in that. Our senators have a say in that. The electoral college has a say in that, and that's a small group of people controlling a large group of people. So don't want to go on a tangent there. Like I said, it's not a republic. I mean, it's not a democracy; it's a republic. But my point being is the scriptures talked about this stuff. It does. It's always existed, right? There's nothing new under the sun, right? That's Bible. That's a fact. These things have happened because absolute power corrupts absolute. When you give someone so much control, or you give a group so much control, they operate on earth as if they're God. And that's what you're dealing with. That's what you're seeing. And the good and bad of this internet and this YouTube and this TikTok is you can't really lie to us as much anymore. Yeah, you can still put your propaganda. Yeah, you can say that this is an issue all over the world. But now we can find out, because we can hear the regular people, like I said about living testimony, tell us their experience on the other part of the world. I'll just share a quick story, which I ain't gonna hold you up. I was in Croatia a couple of years back, and whoever the president was, because I don't remember, they were telling us things were great. Everybody loved America, so forth and so on. Because I had watched the news, I'm old school, so I watched the news. I like to know the weather. Man, once I got to Croatia and Italy and all those different places, they were letting us know on BBC and on their regular news how they had disdain for whoever was in leadership or their policies or the fact that we had bombed schools or whatever. Again, I'm not gonna get into that political stuff. And I'm saying this just to say there's propaganda, and there's propaganda in every nation. And that's how they kind of keep us under control. They paint an image, and when we say, "Yep, we're the greatest country on earth," and maybe we are. I'm not going to say that we're not. I'm not anti-American. I'm not any of that. But I'm just saying now with the internet and YouTube and these different platforms, we get a chance to give our opinion. But not only our opinion, we get a chance to see what's going on in some of these other places. We get a chance to hear stories, painful stories, funny stories from all around the world. You name it, any continent, except, and don't mean it as a continent, but except, those places where things are prohibited, such as like, North Korea. But where there's a will, there's a way, right? There's prisoners with phones, there's etc. So we get to bring these stories to you, and I want to bring them to you. And so some of the stuff and some of the content you'll see from me, even if I use quote unquote fair use to put it out, are the people that have painful stories, sad stories, funny stories that can help somebody. But I deal in reality. You're not gonna hear me cussing nobody out. I'm not inviting people to my organs or any of that kind of old stuff. I don't do that. I don't do that. I stay true to me. Now, if that means I get 2 views a day, that's what I'm gonna get. But I just wanted to reach out and let you know, Patches the Dread, Vince, Bennett, whatever you want to call me, I'm back. Vivo, Triple O, you know, um, I'm back and I'm not hiding. I'm out here. And I'm gonna share some travel videos with you, some opinions, bring some of my guys on, some real dudes, some friends, whatever. Now, what they have to say may be a little contrary to my thoughts, but again, I'm not trying to manipulate thoughts or control thoughts. I just want you to have a place that you can go to and know that you're gonna get the real. And before I go, it's probably gonna strike chords with some of you. Man, listen, I've been checking out Candace Owens for a while. She the truth, bro. And I'm not saying she's the truth as in Yahweh or Yahshua, but I don't think that she's a plant. I don't think she's a sellout. I don't think she's a Miss Uncle Tom. I don't think any of that. I think she is communicating her feelings and thoughts, and she is utilizing her mind and reading and studying and sharing things with you that the propaganda don't want you to see. And that's a fact. Now, does that mean I'm for Trump? No, I already voted. I voted in the prelims. Um, but it makes you open up your mind and begin to be a free thinker. So, guys, I love music. I love these videos. I love these podcasts. I love all that kind of stuff, but I love to travel. And what I've kind of done over my career, like I told you, 30 years in different management capacities, is I've kind of broken these things apart, right? Because I had a rap career, right? I did. I was rapped since I was 7 years old. If you watch one of my videos, I tell you I grew up with Tevin Campbell. I grew up with Roy Hargrove. I grew up with Benny Moore. I grew up with a lot of people that made it, um, and they know my name or knew my name, right? And I was a guy, but I let the life that I had seen and grew up in kind of take me down for a while, and then I elevated, got out of that, and I'll share more stories on it, and just kind of changed my life a bit. I do want to give a quick shout out before I get out of here to Christopher Bill Feasy, right? Man, whether you ever see this or not, your story was inspirational. I was watching you since you first got released. And I watched you build your platform from 0 views and subscribers to many, just telling your life stories. If Yahweh was the one inspiring you to speak and share and help with some healing, man, you listen. Your obedience is amazing. I've been one that's been disobedient. People been telling me to write a book, tell my whole story, my whole life. I chose not to. Why? Because I was in those leadership roles. I was in those executive roles and working in corporate America, and I still do. But it's time because I can hide, right? I can hide behind the camera, continue to do that, and try to pay other people. But man, sometimes when you want something done, you got to do it yourself. And so this is an introduction, um, and I hope that you guys ride with me and we run it up. But I'm looking for growth. Another person I'm gonna shout out. I'm gonna shout out TTE Naughty. He was one of my first interviews. I didn't interview him. Shout out to Bree Moore. She did. We had an arrangement. Bree Moore makes things happen in the Dallas area. Shout out to Uncle JoJo. He makes things happen in the Dallas area. Alex, all great talents that are behind the scenes sometimes. You don't see these folks, but these are the people that I connected with for the Larry James interview and for the TTE Naughty interview. TTE Naughty, thank you for giving me an opportunity to do that with you. Um, I ain't been bashing, man, but I'm always gonna have a little fun with folk. Um, Hopefully, you rebound and come on back. Pop Austin Media. I was watching them. I was one of the guys that used to pop on there when they were getting 40 views. They used to shout me out, and then I don't know what happened. It's almost like when my videos blew up on TikTok, they stopped fooling with me. But anyway, that's all good because all of those things are gonna force me to be who I am. Shout out to Yellow. That's Kinfolk. And I ain't gonna say much more than that. That's Kinfolk. We know, and when you know, you know. And great interview you did recently, man. And hopefully we link in the future. But I get it. I'm gonna have to get mine out the mud, and I'm gonna get it out the mud. But just wanted to share with you guys. I'm gonna chop this up. I'm gonna spread it around like gravy, and we're gonna see what happens. But Larry the Mac James, Making of a Monster, the book is out. You want to see more of Larry the Mac James? I'm sure you do. That's my pops, man. That's my pops. Wise man. We should be talking on a weekly, daily basis. You know what I mean? Letting you guys ask him questions. We probably gonna do a little bit of that. But I got some other ones. You gotta see CJ Neely. You gotta talk to Pola. You gotta talk to Lil May Walker. You gotta talk to Emmett Walker. All these are my folks, man. You saw the interviews with Bowleg. You saw the interviews with Squeaky Mac. Um, man, shout out to LaBelle Pope. He plugged me in with some folks. Some of them we didn't get to do. Some folks I even got mad at me over videos. But listen, I don't promote beef. I don't beef. You DM me, you say, hey, let's meet up. I do this. Man, I ain't got time for that, man. I lived a life. I used to be there. I was in it. I was in it for real. And I just chose something greater. So all that beef, look, like they say, it take two to tango, man. It take two to beef, man, or three to beef. I ain't got no beef, man. If you ain't trying to come into my house and violate my wife and my kids, peace be unto you, man. You know what I mean? Shalom. Go out there, peace be unto you, man. Now, you come to my place and you're trying to do me harm, that's something different, right? I mean, it's only right that I stand my ground and do whatever I need to do to survive. So I'm here to educate. I'm here to laugh with you. I'm here to cry with you. One more shout out before I go. It was crazy for me to throw this guy on, but I did. I did a video with a dude named Black Malcolm, 18 years in the penitentiary. And when I was talking to him, he was kind of, mugged up, big guy, but I'm a bigger guy. But I knew him through some folks, you know what I mean? So we were good. And with all these interviews, man, in this culture, you have people that may come across as intimidating. And I'll share a story with you, though. The ones that come across as the least intimidating, normally those are the ones. Those are the ones that you better know what you're doing, and you better know not to bother them. And I'll just tell you like that. But I did an interview with Malcolm, man, and he was a little, like I said, coming off as aggressive. Wasn't really answering many questions at first, and then he opened up. And later I found out, man, super lighthearted dude, man. He was a comedian. And so what I've been trying to say is, man, you need to just keep telling jokes. He's a really funny guy. I took a clip of him. Produced a 14-minute comedy thing with him. Man, it went viral on TikTok. Don't know what it's going to do on YouTube, and I know it's a strange, right, add to my channel because I normally share stories and living testimony and stuff, but we already did the living testimony interview, and now I want people to see his talent. I got a great opportunity to sit down with Goody Winfield. Great talent. Worked with stars all over. Great stories. Great stories. And I hope to get to work with him again, man, and even share his music. Because to me, after we've done the interview or we've had the discussion, then I want to share something that'll help you improve your livelihood. I want you to get more likes. I want to know your Cash App. What websites are you on? You know, this ain't selfish to me. This is, I want to get the information out. I want to pull those heartstrings because I'm good at it, man. I've been interviewing for 30 years. I'm really good at it. But after that, I want you to be successful. So living testimony, patches the dread, be back. And you're going to see some more content.